So I'm just going to share with you a few thoughts about this Bible passage and our theme for this morning. So I wonder, have you ever asked, who am I? It's something we might wonder about at all of the stages of our life. So when we're children, we might ask it. When we grow up and we're teenagers, we might continue to question it and ask it. And then when we're adults, sometimes we carry it quite quietly, but wrestle with it in our hearts, this question of who am I? But the Bible answers that question really clearly. That we're not defined by what we do, but we're defined by who God says we are. And as we celebrate your children and young people this morning, I want to remind them of who God says they are, but also in doing so, remind us all in this room of who God says we are. We just read a Bible passage from 1 Peter. Peter wrote these words to believers who felt small, they felt scattered, they felt unsure. And God says to them and to us today, this is who you are. You are chosen, you are loved and claimed by God. You are celebrated with a purpose. So first of all, you are chosen. When I was preparing for this, my mind was kind of wandering, I was thinking about it, and I went back to the playground at school, when you're picked for teams for different things. And so my mind went back to this, so you're all lined up, and someone starts calling names out, and a few children got picked straight away, but sometimes you're just standing there like, oh, when will I be picked? Is it me next? When I was at school, netball is where my mind went with this. And I can't play an instrument, I also can't play netball. So I can't play netball. And so I always used to be really grateful when one of my friends was chosen as the captain, and then they chose the team, because I was like, I know I'm going to get chosen, even though I'm not good at netball. But actually, it's that feeling, isn't it? That wondering, are we going to get chosen? Are we going to get chosen? Are we even going to be seen by that person? And that feeling doesn't always disappear when we grow up. We still wonder, do we matter? Do we belong? Are we wanted? But the Bible gives us this powerful answer that says you are chosen. Chosen not by accident, not chosen as a backup plan, not chosen because your friend is in charge, but chosen on purpose. God saw you before anyone else did. He knew you even before you were born. He knew your story, your struggles, your mistakes, and he still wanted you. In fact, God chose us before we even thought about choosing him. We weren't the last one picked. We weren't the last one standing in the playground. We weren't overlooked. We're not just lucky to be here. God wanted each one of us in this room to be in his family. He handpicked us. This means your life has meaning and your presence has purpose, and your story matters. So when you feel forgotten or unwanted or unsure of where you belong, when you have that question in your head, who am I? Remember this: the God of the universe looks at you and says, I choose you. So next, we're going to move on to the fact that we are loved. So we're loved and claimed by God. We belong to God. In the Bible passage, it says we are God's special possession. So I want you to think about in your head maybe something that you care a lot about, something really precious that you take care of. It could be maybe a pet. It could be a gift that someone has given you. It could be a piece of jewelry. It could be a photo that means a lot to you. It could be a toy that you've had since you were born. But these precious things, we don't just toss them aside, do we? We don't toss those things aside. We protect it and we keep it close. Because it's valuable and it matters. And God says to us, that's how I feel about you. You're not just someone God created and forgot about. He loves you, and you are his special possession. This means we belong to God, and he looks after us like a parent does to a child, or like a shepherd looks after his sheep. The world is quick to tell us that we don't matter, but God speaks louder. God says we're not forgotten, we're not disposable, and we are deeply valued. So when the world says that we don't matter, God says that we are his. And if we belong to God, we're already loved, already claimed, already worth more than we could ever imagine. Finally, celebrated. This morning's a celebration. I hope you've gathered that, isn't it? And so it's a celebration of the young people and the children here. We give thanks to God for each one of you guys today and the way you shine his light in this place and outside of this place. And we're really, really thankful to God that you bring that into this space. And for this part, I want to focus on the line that says that God called us out of darkness into his wonderful light. Darkness is quite scary, isn't it? I don't know about you, I don't like the dark at all. You can trip over things, you feel a bit unsure, you don't really know where you are sometimes in the dark. And everything feels a little bit heavier because you can't see clearly, you don't know where you're going. That's what life can sometimes be like when we don't have life and God is not in it. It can be confusing and overwhelming and lonely. But God didn't leave us in that place. He calls us out of darkness into this wonderful light. He didn't just rescue us from the darkness, but he calls us out into something even better. And light changes everything. It brings clarity, warmth, safety, direction. So we've got Jesus turning the lights on. Suddenly you can see. Suddenly you're not afraid anymore. But also we can think a little bit deeper. Jesus brings truth, this light when we're confused, when we feel stuck, and a new direction when we don't know which way to go. But the thing that's really cool is in this Bible passage, it's not just called the light, it's called wonderful light. Wonderful light that restores, that heals, light that shows us who we really are. God doesn't just save us from the darkness, he celebrates us by calling us into his light. A place where we're seen, known, and loved. And now we're in this light, shining brightly, God can celebrate who we are in him. Our personalities, our gifts, our talents, everything about us, God has created each one of us just who we are, just who we're meant to be. So this morning I've invited you to join a party, and I mean here we've got the kind of the debris of the party. So we've had this party, haven't we? Because we know that we're loved, we're chosen, and we're celebrated. And in this passage, it also says that we can declare the praises of God. So we know that we're chosen, loved, and celebrated. And I don't know about you, but I think that's something to be thankful for and to celebrate and to give thanks to God for. But also something that we can share. When something good happens, we talk about it, don't we? Maybe it's a good film, a good book. Maybe someone's had a baby. Maybe we celebrate because a prayer has got answered. Good news wants to be shared. It's not something you just hold inside of you. You want to share it with other people. And God says that our lives should tell his story. So the fact that we're chosen, loved, and celebrated should be shown through our lives. And this morning, we've celebrated the young people, and we celebrate that their lives tell God's story, that their lives demonstrate that we are all loved, chosen, and celebrated by God. And so for that, we can then give God our praise, can't we? We praise him by the way we speak, by the way we forgive, the way we love, the way we live differently. Praise isn't just what happens here in this space on a Sunday morning. Praise is what happens on a Monday morning. It's how we treat people when no one's watching. It's choosing gratitude instead of complaining, grace instead of anger, love instead of indifference. When people see our lives, they should catch a little glimpse of who God is, a little bit of heaven on earth. Not because we're perfect, but because we're thankful, we're loved, we're chosen, and we're celebrated by God. So this isn't a quiet, sit on the sidelines kind of faith. This is a faith where we're invited to join the party and be part of this huge celebration.